Would you like to create a little piece of home decor for any time of year, or even something festive? Big or small, this is a fun little project with a little secret. Join me and I'll show you how you can do it. Hi, my name is Michelle Jackson-Mogford from MJM Design Studios. I love paper construction and I've started creating Make Me projects so that you can construct my projects at home for yourself in any way that you want to. I've put this video together to show you how easy it is to create these little birdhouses. So come on, let's take a look at the project. As you've just seen from the finished houses that I've shown you, there are two different versions of this Make Me project available in my Etsy shop. I've got a Birdhouse Wishes and a Festive Birdhouse Wishes. And I just thought we'd take a quick look through the collection to see what you get when you buy the Make Me project. So you get full step-by-step colour instructions of the making of the house. And also the same with the festive kit, obviously. So full step-by-step colour instructions of the making of the house, so you don't get lost at any time and it's always there for you to use, as are the papers which come with each collection. So there's a set of papers for you to print off to get crafty with, and of course you don't just have to use them for making a birdhouse. Once you've got them, you've got them. And all the embellishments as well, and these embellishments are all on these sheets at the correct size for the birdhouse that you're making. So everything's there ready for you to print off and cut out and craft with. And the same with the festive collection as well. So there's festive papers here, so lots of snowflakes and festive colours and lots of yumminess to play with, as well as all the embellishments as well. So we've got holly and ivy, mistletoe, flowers. These are all hand painted embellishments by me. Lots of snowflakes here which I've made and then put into the kits. And we've also got some birdies and some festive words there. So whatever you want to make when you've got your little mini kits is entirely up to you. But obviously this is to make the birdhouse kit. And with each collection, you get a full set of templates as well for you to make up the birdhouse. So they're all to size, they're all ready to go, they all fit together perfectly. So all the hard work's been taken out for you and you just get to craft and build your little houses. So both are constructed in exactly the same way, and we're going to work on the Birdhouse Wishes house for this video, but the festive house is constructed in exactly the same way. So let's get to it, shall we? So the first thing we do is we print off our templates for the house, and you'll see it says we cut two of the front and back. So this is the front and the back, but you only cut the whole out for the front, obviously, and you need two sides as well. So you print this sheet twice. You need two sides of the house, but you only need one base, so you just discard one of the bases. So here are my pieces already cut out here, and I've already gone ahead and cut them out and scored them. So that's my two side pieces, and this is the back of my house. So this is the front, so I just want to show you, and I say this in the instructions as well, when you cut in the snip in these little bits for the eaves of the roof, you need to snip in quite close. If you've ever done any dressmaking and made armholes or curves in fabric, you know that this is how you curve the fabric, and it's the same with paper as well. So cut in really tight to that dotted line there. Obviously try not to cut over it. So once you've snipped all them round there, we need to score this line. Now obviously we'd normally score with a ruler and a scoring tool, but this is on a curve. So what I do is I use my Brad Orley pokey tool or an embossing tool or whatever it is that you've got, or you can even use the back of a pair of scissors, just not the blade, obviously. And I'm just going to very carefully draw the pin of the tool along the scored line here, the dotted line. So all the dotted lines are scoring lines and all the solid lines are cutting lines. So that's scored down like that, and then we just need to score this bottom half here. Always use a metal ruler to score against, because plastic rulers can get nicks and chips in them and then your score line goes off its course. So now we've scored all them, you just fold them all back like that, and you can use a paper creaser as well if you want to get a crisp line, which is always advisable. And you just, can you see now that we've made that curved line really easily? So again, on this side, which is the one we've just scored, you just fold these tabs back and you get your lovely curved line to give you that curved roof on your birdhouse. Just want to score that bit again there, just to make sure that that's a nice tight point at the top. So once we've done that, we now need to cover our pieces. So I've gone ahead and covered the other ones. I'm going to show you how we do that really easily. So I take the piece of paper that I want, so this will be the front of my house, and I can select the area of the paper that I want as well. So we're going to work on this down left corner here, so I get some of the music notes in as well. But we don't stick it to the front of the paper because obviously we're covering this. So what we need to do is turn the paper over, and we also need to turn our template over so these are facing away. And it's much easier to do this than to have, you know, to draw around the piece and then try and get it on, because things never come out straight, and then, you know, they're always wobbly, and you just end up fighting with yourself to try and get it a perfect fit. So this is my way of getting a perfect fit when I cover a piece of paper or card. So turn it over like that, and then I'll locate roughly where I want it to go, and then leave that to one side to dry. And then I would go ahead and cover all the other pieces before I cut them out. So these pieces are already covered here. So that's the back of my house, and I've used different colour pieces of paper. You can keep yours all the same. It's your creation. You do it how you want to. And these are the sides of the house, and this is the base of the house as well. So once this is dry, we're going to take a craft knife and we're going to cut this out. I like to use a craft knife to cut these things out with, because if you use scissors, you don't quite get close enough. You can get closer with a craft knife. So top tips on cutting with a craft knife from Michelle. If you're doing a straight line, let's do the straight line first. So if you're doing this straight line, use a metal ruler. Always use a metal ruler, because if you use a plastic ruler, the blade will cut into it, and then you're going to go off course of your line, and also you're going to damage your ruler. And you need to get right over the top of your work, and it's not pressure through your knife, it's pressure through your the hand that's holding your ruler. So that's the bit that needs to be pressed down and kept firm. This you can pass 2 or 3 times. It's better to do 2 or 3 light cuts than one really heavy cut, and then you'll get a nice crisp line every time. And also make sure your blade is always sharp, which is why I use these retractable knives, because as soon as this goes a little bit dull, I can just snap it off and carry on crafting. That's the way I work anyway, and that's my little tip. So to do this curved line, again, go over the top of your work and just take your time, just take it easy, and just follow your line like we did when we scored. So we're just following the line of the card, and you can see by doing it this way, the paper is going to match up to the shape of your template. So if your template is slightly wonky, or you've got a slightly unstraight line or something like that, you're going to cut along that line so it's going to match exactly, rather than trying to match a piece of paper that's already cut out and trying to get it onto the template. So there we go. I tried not to hold my breath while I was doing it. Always remember to breathe. And don't forget to cut your little circle out for the front of your house as well. So we'll put this piece of paper to one side. When you cut in a circle, the easiest way to do it is to hold your knife in, do a little bit, turn your work. Do a little bit and turn your work. Don't try and do that and twist your arm off, because that's not a good look. And also you'll get a very ragged cut. So the next thing we're going to do is, once we've covered our piece with the paper, one little technique that I like to do is take a piece of sandpaper or an emery board or something to the edge of the work and just sand around the edges. This is like a twofold thing. One, it makes sure that any bits that might be sticking up of the edge sort of disappear. And also it melds your piece of paper into your card, so it starts to look like it's one piece. And the reason I cover these pieces and not just print onto a heavy card is just for extra stability, really. It just gives extra thickness, because it's like laminating your paper and card together. So I've printed my birdhouse onto 300 GSM card as the base. And then the paper I've used, I always use 120 GSM, 120 GSM matte white card. So it's a matte white paper, matte white photo paper. So it doesn't have a coating on it, so you're not going to get any scratches or scuffs in your coating, and you don't get that chalkiness. And it just gives it, and because it's 120 and it's a bright white matte, it gives you a nice colour print as well. So there we go. So we've sanded all the edges of the house like that. Don't forget to sand around your circle as well for the opening of the birdhouse. So we just give that a quick sand as well. And don't worry, because any other edges we can just cover that. We're going to cover them up with ink. That's an optional extra as well. You don't have to sand, you don't have to use your ink. It's entirely up to you. This is just how I construct my projects. So that's there like that. Now we've got all our pieces together. I've already sanded the other pieces as well, and we're going to put the birdhouse together. So lay them out with your side between the front and the back, like that, and then we put that front on as well. So now we can adhere all this together. So we just put some, and I always use wet glue. That's my preference. I think it gives you a stronger bond, and it also gives you a bit of play time. I do find that red liner tape is good. That's a good strong tape. But the adhesive on tapes tends to give up the ghost over time quicker than a wet glue does. But that's just my experience and my preference. And the other good thing with another good thing to do with wet glue is not put too much on, obviously. Try and go all the way up to the edges. I've got it on my mat now. Try and go all the way up to the edges, and also actually give it a little bit of time to what you call going off. So it just starts to dry a little bit, and that's when it becomes its tackiest. So you're still going to have your play time to move things around, but it just gives it a little bit of tackiness, and it gives you a stronger bond, and also it means that you don't get glue oozing out everywhere. So we put the front on like that. So you're matching your lines up there, and you'll see we've still got that white line down there. That's because, one, we've sanded the edges, so we get that white core of the paper, and you will see a little bit of the card as well, because you need the fold to be visible so we can actually fold the house up. So we glue all that together like that, and then when that's stuck, we simply bring this round, and then we're going to adhere that piece to there. So this is actually the main body of the house, almost constructed, so it really is quick and easy to put together. I just did that with my finger, and that's just one of my naughty habits, but it's just because it makes the glue start to dry a bit quicker, like I said, so you get that good strong adhesion. So match them, the sides up like that, stick that together. So now we've got our little house. Now we're not going to put the base on yet. The roof goes on first, and there's a reason for everything in the project, and that will all become evident later on. But what we are going to do is we're just going to put a tiny dab of glue on the corner. Oh, a bit close to the camera there, Michelle. Tiny dab of glue on each corner of this base here, and then we want to square up our house. Now normally I would have my cutting mat with the grid facing up, but because it goes a bit funny on screen, I haven't. But use the grid of a cutting mat to get your house square. Press down the corners like that, make sure it's nice and square, and then leave that to one side to dry properly, and then we're going to start to make the roof section. So for the roof section, what I've done is I've printed two pieces of lightweight card. So this is 200 GSM cardstock, and I've printed it double-sided. So you literally just put it through once, turn it over and do it again. You could have it a different colour on both sides. And then I've put it through again on one side and printed the template for the roof onto it. So it's ready to cut out in its patterned paper. And the reason we do it pattern, although we're going to cover it, is in case anything's seen through the tiles of the house, then you've got a nice colour, and also the edges, you can see the edges underneath, so it just gives it a nice finishing touch. And the roof trims as well, and we'll come to them in a little minute. So you cut out your roof pieces and you score along the lines here and here, and then you adhere them together and you have a roof. And then you can do a little bit of inking as well, obviously, as you wish. And we're going to use this colour ink, which is a Spice Marmalade ink, for this project, so we can tie everything together. So you take your house. Now this isn't difficult, it's just a little bit faffy, that's all. It's just a bit of patience and a bit of manipulation. So I'm hoping the camera's not too close to the work, because we're up close and personal at the moment. So what we do is we take our wet glue and we just put a little bit on each folded back tab of the roof. So this won't be pretty because you're going to get glue strings everywhere. That's fine because it's inside the house. So we get some blobs of glue going like this. And you can smush them over with your finger to make sure that the glue's spread out so you get a nice contact. Or you could use a lollipop stick if you don't like getting messy. Or something similar, or a glue dabber or something. I'm sure you've all got your ways of doing things. And you take your roof and just make sure these sides are inwards, so they're more or less straight. And you take your roof and you position it halfway, like so it's even across the front and back of your house. So you just need to keep turning your house so that you see that you've got an even distance. So you will get a slight overhang. Can you see you're going to get an overhang front and back as well. And you just keep moving this around, checking that you've got it evenly spaced like this, and keep pressing down there, and the glue will stick to that piece of paper. So we've kind of got that in position. I'm quite happy with that. You probably won't get your front and back exactly like straight at a 90-degree angle, but that's absolutely fine because you've got this overhang and that covers up a multitude of sins. And then what you can do is you can go into the bottom. So again, this is why we don't put, this is another reason we don't put the bottom of the house on straight away. And you can take a tool and you can go in and you can press your roof, the tabs of the side of the house onto your roof here. So you make sure that you've got a good strong adhesion. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the trims on the front and back of our roof. To add the trims to the eaves of the roof, you cut out your 4 trims from the template sheet, the one that we printed onto double-sided paper. And when you snip them out, remember, cut right up to the fold line. So again, just like we did on the front of the house, you snip the scallops. Don't have to go right up to the score line, but nearly. But these snips definitely do, and so you get a really pliable strip of card there because we need it to go around the curve of the house. And then to add it to the house, we just put a line of glue down here. Now this is all being covered up with the roof tiles, so it doesn't matter if any of this is seen, although it does dry clear. And you take your eaves, and I start at the bottom here, and then you just push them into place along the curve of the house like this. Like this. There we go. So that's the eaves of the house on, like that, and it just gives it a nice finishing touch around the edges. And of course then what will finish the roof off properly is when we add the roof tiles. So you see that this curve now, when we cover this up, gets continued round to your to the eaves of your roof. So the next stop is the tiles for the roof. With the roof in place, another nice finishing touch is to ink all your edges. So where we sanded our papers down and made our joins, we can actually bring everything together. So we bring all the sides together by just adding a bit of ink around all the edges. And this also then, even if you use different colour papers, it starts to unify your piece together. So moving on to the roof tiles. In the Birdhouse Wishes collection, I've made up this paper with a heart print on it, and these hearts are exactly the right size to make our roof tiles with. But with each collection, with each Make Me project, you do get a sheet of heart templates for you to print off as you wish. So you can either print these onto a pattern paper from the kit that you've got, or you could print them onto some paper that you have at home, or whatever colour card you want, or book pages, or anything that you like. So these hearts are the right size for the large birdhouse. So let me just show you what I mean by printing onto other papers. So with the festive birdhouse collection, I chose 4 different coloured papers. You can have all your roof tiles the same colours, but I like to mix it up a little bit. So I picked 4 different pattern papers and I printed them double-sided, so they've all actually got the same paper on the print on the back. And then I printed my heart template onto that. So then I could cut the hearts out and then make my roof tiles that way. So it's entirely up to you. But I've used this heart paper for my Birdhouse Wishes. So you cut all the hearts out. 48 does cover the roof. But if you want to put your rows slightly close together, then you'll need an extra sheet. So we cut them all out like this, and then all I've done again is with that inking. So I've inked the edges of the hearts all with that same coloured ink, which I've used spiced marmalade. So it kind of, again, even though they're all different colours, it brings them all together. And then I've just curled them with my fingers. So I've just done the 2 bits like that, and then one up the middle, and made a nice curl to my roof tile. And to add them on, it's super easy. So you just take the side of your house and you put a little tiny dash of glue, dash, blob, whatever you want to call it, onto the end, onto the point of your heart, and you put it in place. Now you see that I've put it so it overhangs the edge slightly. Let's move that up a little bit more. Overhangs the edge slightly, and it also goes over the edge this way as well. So then we build up our row along here. So I won't do too many of these in one go and bore you, but I want you to get the idea of how you build up your roof tiles. I just think it's a really effective way to get tiles. If you've got a die, a heart-shaped die of about the same size, then by all means go ahead and use your die as well. So you don't have to cut everything out by hand or an electronic machine. Talking of electronic machines, all my projects, you're absolutely fine to use your clever scanning and cutting machines, or your silhouettes, or whatever it is you want to do. So if you've got an electronic die cutting machine, by all means go ahead and use that for your cutting out. Whatever makes life easy, eh? You just want to get to the craftiness. So you see that all I've done is I've just moved the heart line up slightly for the next row, and then you just continue up towards the top. And when you get to the top, you're going to end up with an overhang like that, and I'll show you what you do with that. So when you get to the top of your roof tiles, you'll get this overhang here. And all you need to do is you do one side, and then when it's dry, let the glue dry, otherwise these are going to come unstuck. Take a pair of scissors and just snip the tips off like that along the edge of your roof, okay? And then you go ahead and build up the other side exactly the same way. And then once you've done both sides, you take the roof trim, the remaining roof trim, which is like a double scallop, score it, ink it and score it down the middle, and then you just place that over the top to finish it off, neaten the edges and finish it off. And again, it has a little overhang on either end of the roof, like a roof would be, but also it just gives it a nice neat finish. And then once you've done that, you're down to decorating. So to the decorating, because this is the collections with each Make Me project are like print it and craft collections, so you literally are just printing off the sheets. The sun just came out then, so it got very bright. You're printing the sheets off, and then you just cut out what you want and you craft with it. So it's as simple as that. All you need is a PDF reader, and they're free. If you don't have one, there'll be a link in the description down below. So you choose the elements that you want, And remember, just because you're printing them on paper and card, I mean, you can print them onto canvas and fabric and shrink plastic. You can print them onto anything. When you have digital images, you can do all sorts with them. But you can also shape them. So even though they're paper and card, put some dimension into your flowers, build them up, curl them on your fingers, make them go one way or the other. And then you could build up your layers as well. So if you just curl your petals round, and then we'd maybe curl them up at the end like that. You can take your embossing tools as well, and you can do the centres. You could turn it over and deboss the centre like that. So you get a completely different shaped flower. It's up to you. You can ink it, do whatever you want, make it layers, and then you start to get 3D embellishments from a flat sheet of paper. So you go ahead and decorate as you want to. So let's just have a look at the finished piece. So this is my finished birdhouse. So you see that some of these tree branches I've left loose because I quite like the movement on them. So you don't have to stick everything down. You've got all the different flowers and of course a little birdie. I've used one of the circles which is on the embellishment sheet. Let me see if I can find it very quickly for you without too much fuss. Here we go. So here's this circle here. So it's this like scallop flower. I've cut the centre out and I've used that as a little frame for the entrance to my birdhouse there. On the sides of the house I've added some words, and there are words in the kit which I've printed off at the right size to fit the birdhouse. And what I did was I printed a piece of the green pattern paper that's in the collection, and then I printed over the top, so I got a green outline to my words, so it wasn't quite as harsh as having a white outline. And also it means that you don't have to cut as close to your words or to your embellishments if you do that as well. Don't forget the back of your house as well. So I've used a pattern paper on the back, but we just add a little birdie with a bit of dimension just for a little added extra, and a word on the side. Now when you've finished your birdhouse, when you finish decorating it, if you want to hang it, you quite simply put a slit with a knife on either side of the roof, thread the ribbon through the top, and before you attach the base, so we still haven't attached the base at this point, you pull the ribbon through and you can tie a knot and then pull it back through. And when all that's done, you add your base. And you can, an optional extra which I like to do is to thread a piece of baker's twine through and put some beads on just as an extra, so when it's hanging it's got a nice little interest at the bottom of the birdhouse as well. So I've called this a wishing house, and the reason I've called it a wishing house is I like to make my projects have a meaning or a reason for being. So what I've done in the collection is I've made these little wishing cards or journal cards. So if you're using your kit to make another project, these could be toppers on cards, they could be in scrapbook pages or whatever. It's the same in the festive birdhouse kit as well. You've got some journal cards in there. And I just think it's a really sweet idea that you can write your wishes and your hopes, your dreams, your secrets or whatever. Roll them up into a little scroll here, tie them with a ribbon, and then you can just pop them into your birdhouse, and Birdie will keep your secrets and your dreams forever. So that's a really just a nice, I'd like the quirky addition to the project. So that's the Birdhouse Wishes one. Let's just have a quick look at the decoration on the festive birdhouse. So again, I've just built up, so this poinsettia, I've built it up in several layers, and I've just curled it in different ways. Of course, got to have a little robin because it's a festive house. Again, there are words in the festive kit as well, so there are festive words in there. And the back with our dove of peace, obviously, and words on there as well. So again, I've left pieces free, so you get a bit of movement. And of course, you've got to add glitter. So I've glittered the roof tiles as well. So you see there's all the different colour papers that I use for the roof tiles. Liberally sprinkled with glitter, and then you've got a lovely little festive birdhouse festive decoration. And again, that has the journal cards, the wishing part of the wishing house. Now, you don't have to stop there. Once you've got the template and you've got the collection, why not make different size houses? So if you print them off at different sizes, as long as everything is printed at the same percentage, then it's going to work. So these are all printed as A5 templates. So I don't know if it's a bit bright there for you to see, but the templates are there. So these are A5. The Adobe Reader that I use is really handy for being able to print in different sizes and different percentages. So if you printed it, say, at 75%, just make sure that everything is printed at 75%. So there's all the templates there, the little hearts as well. And of course, then print off all your embellishments at the same size as well. So we've gone down to 50% here. But as long as you make everything the same percentage, then you're fine. And even the papers. So now you can see that your craft collection that you get with this Make Me project becomes an unlimited resource for your other craftiness. And these little papers make up a cute little birdhouse like this one. So now you've got a little half-size version of this one. Cute! Which is great for spring decoration or Easter decoration, or, of course, festive decoration. So you can make loads of little houses, put on your windowsill, you could put tea lights around them, you put them on your tree, put them on your mantelpiece, whatever it is. So once you've got the templates, once you've got the instructions for the Make Me projects, and once you've got the kit, then you can craft away to your heart's content. So why not have a go at creating your own little birdhouses and filling them with wishes? You can find both my Make Me projects in my Etsy shop. The links will be in the description down below. Thanks very much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it and feel inspired. Remember, you can go and peruse any of my kits in my Etsy shop. They're digital and there's print it and craft versions, so there's something for everybody in there. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click the bell for notifications so you don't miss any of my videos which are coming up. Until soon, happy crafting!